Hello, it's Andrew, Big Y Fly Company. We're going to talk about trout lines today. There's a whole bunch of different types of trout lines out there. There's a bunch of videos, a bunch of blog articles. I wrote half of them myself on the internet. We're talking about our traditional standard trout lines. Now, I know a lot of you guys like to throw things like this, but things like this eat the things I normally throw for trout. It's a little sulfur dun. So I want something that's going to throw that little itty bitty sulfur dun and put it right where I want it all the time. And all the way we're going to move into things that might be able to throw this. But for the most part, I'm looking for what I do most of the time, which is throw little dries, little nymphs, maybe little streamers. So these are the lines that I'd grab, the ones I like, the ones I fished. For the most part, we have some lines that are heavy and some lines that aren't. So we got the Rio light line. It's the first one to talk about here. And by light line, it is really light. It's got a really long front taper. It's built to AFTA standards. So at 30 feet, your rod should load just perfectly. And you really don't ever cast more than 30 feet like regularly. And I don't really know anybody who does. I really like this line. It's so light though that on really fast action rods, it doesn't do that great. So in that case, you move up a little bit into, say, your Scientific Angler's trout line. And this is an all-around trout line. There's a little more weight pushed up front, so it's going to be easier for people to cast, especially that aren't really great at casting. It also is going to still provide a good presentation, but it's the more weight you put up front, the more chance you have at making a splashy cast. But this is a really good all-around line. This is probably one of my favorites. If I'm just throwing dry flies and little nymphs, this is the one to do it with. The Cortland 444 Classic is right there too. This thing's been around forever. It's just great. It's a weight forward line. It does everything you need to do. It's probably really similar. If you cast these two next to each other, it'd probably be pretty close. Then you move into, you got a couple Rio lines. The Rio Gold, I'm actually pretty sure it's a little heavy, but it's great. It's still an all-around line. There's probably more people fish this than any other line. It's really easy to roll cast. It's got a really long head though, so you can actually still get some good distance out of it. You can still make a good presentation at 40 feet, even though that most people will never do that. You get even heavier, you got starting into oversized lines. So you got your Rio Grande and your Scientific Angler's MPX and your Cortland Trout Boss. And I fished all of these. I fished all of these in the past month. They're all pretty awesome. I think I like the Cortland the best. Out of all of them, it seemed the easiest to cast all around, with both the MPX and the Grand kind of really close behind, and really you could grab either of them and be really happy. When you put all the weight up front and you put more weight than your rod is really built to cast, you do end up getting a little splashy. Your fly may not land exactly like precisely where you want it to with the utmost delicacy. But that's what you get for using something a little bit heavier. What you do get is the ability to maybe throw some streamers or a big nymph line with this. So it's a trade-off. It's still a great all-around line, and especially if you have a faster rod, all three of these. And your last one is it's the Rio Perception. It kind of falls in the middle of all these. This one's really good for short distance. It's only 36-foot head. So you really, anywhere past about 30 feet, you're really going to start losing your ability to control where it lands precisely. So this is a really good line for people that fish small creeks a lot and really like a line that is to size, but you're going to lose some distance over these other ones that have a longer head. So these are trout lines, dry lines in a nutshell. Appreciate it. We are at BigYFlyCompany.com or BigYFlyCo.com. We're here 7 days a week in the shop, or you can give us a call. Thanks.